Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Today is Monday podcast. I'm your host, Dante. We have our engineer, Wolf Taylor, Big Wolf. Woo! And today we have a very special guest, the virtuous Abaraham Khan.
You know what? Well, one-man audience is still okay. All right. I appreciate that.
No worries, man. How are you?
I'm discombobulated. I'm grateful. And I'm feeling a lot of different things at the same time. You know, I got betrayed pretty recently. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to turn the other cheek. Whatever. Let bygones be bygones. Things got a little bit more heated. And then I was like, you know what? F these guys. I don't know anybody, anything. You know, this guy. And then obviously I was a little outnumbered. And well, you know, you were there.
Yeah.
I made the queen rain, and I got a little banged up.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll get into that.
we will. We absolutely will. And it's because it's on top of mine, I noticed that it is affecting you deeply. So let's revisit that for sure. So I got the age-old question for you, Abraham. How did you discover professional wrestling?
How it's like my second memory. It's like I don't know my life without wrestling. I remember like running down the stairs wearing like shorts, and then one of my uncles had wrestling on. It must have been the 90s. The Rock was on. The Rock was just brown, ethnically ambiguous. I thought he was whatever I was, and he became my hero. And I just like I would whatever The Rock did was like gospel. Like that is my guy. And I hated Triple H because I took him very seriously. He was a very serious villain. And I was like, he could hurt Rock or Austin. You know, he's trouble. But that's what I remember. My mother, toward the craziness of the attitude, I remember was like, no, you can't watch this stuff. And I kind of forgot about it. Got lost in like superheroes and comics and music and stuff like that. But somewhere around junior high school, I just got right back into it. And then because there was no WWE Network, there was no YouTube yet, or YouTube was like almost in its infancy. I just absorbed like I had really good friends, and thank God I've had really good people in my life. I would borrow DVDs and videotapes, and I would absorb. Like I remember my cousin got a DVD of 1940s wrestling in Staten Island at a garage sale, and I watched it, and I understood who Gorgeous George was, and I was like, oh, he started entrances in wrestling. Or at least that's what they credit him for. And I was like, whoa, okay. And I would read wrestling magazines, and I would just whatever I get my hands on. Then I discovered Ring of Honor, and then you know, you just don't stop. Um, to be completely transparent with you, I loved wrestling so much. I would cut class in high school. By the time I got in high school, I would cut class, and I would wrestle on campus on concrete, where they would deliver like your lunches. And I met a lot of interesting people. In high school, I was the wrestling guy. I wore wrestling T-shirts, well, whatever I could afford. I could not really, but I met a lot of cool people through that. And then somewhere around 14, 15, I really wanted to get into wrestling. Late 2000s, nobody's going to take on the liability of a young person that wants to be a wrestler, no matter how tall they are. And so I started my own backyard wrestling league. You know, and I met some incredible people. Some of them actually turned pro, and they're scattered all over now. Some of them tried, and some of them just have like regular normal lives and careers, and that's fantastic. But I was so deep, and I was so hungry for wrestling. It was in Coney Island. We would do these crazy shows. Strangers would walk in either drunk or high or none, or they saw us on the train and they would come down. I was like, at the peak of it, must have been like 40 of us. We did some crazy stuff. I would write it, produce it, edit it, write people's promos, come up with stuff. And yeah, like that was like my passion project. And it scratched the itch of wrestling until it just wasn't enough anymore.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's sick. A couple points I want to get at.
Yeah.
You said in high school you were known as the wrestling guy.
Yeah.
How did people treat you being the wrestling guy?
They either were like, oh, John Cena stuff. And I'm like, yeah. Oh, John Cena sucks. I'm like, oh, okay. Or they were like, oh, wrestling? Oh, that crap. You know, like MMA wasn't super popular yet, but people were growing out of wrestling. It wasn't cool anymore. And I just kind of stuck with it. I was just like, nah, wrestling's cool, man. You just like, it's you that just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just never stopped. I don't know how to explain it better than that. I was like, no, I get it. I get it on a deeper level, and I just follow it so deeply. Maybe I was just too invested. I don't know.
You get those people that are like, don't understand it and don't want to understand it. So it's like frustrating to be like, well, it's like you watch Marvel movies
Hmm.
and Chris Evans is in Captain America,
Oh,
but when
what?
you watch it, oh,
Yeah.
he is Captain America.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. But I understand that because when I was in high school, I was kind of like that closeted wrestling fan. Is like, I'm kind of scared to tell people that I'm
Yeah, you're
a
not
wrestling
fooling girls
fan.
with that.
Yeah. No,
It's not happening.
it's like, yeah, I'm so cool. And then like the next day, did you see John Cena, girl?
Yeah.
Did you see him?
Yeah.
But it's cool that you wore that so proud. What allowed you to wear that wrestling fandom so proudly?
It's probably like a two-part answer. The easiest way is like I just really grew up without a lot of stuff, and I just happened to like what I liked, and I just liked it. And I just never, you cannot make me like do something I don't want to do or say something I don't believe in. And that's happened throughout my life. And thank God I grew up the way I grew up. There's a lot of boys in my family. I have a lot of cousins that are basically my brothers. They are my brothers. What am I even saying? Their father raised them to be pro wrestlers. Actually, like they're like they're really big physically, because their dad wanted them to be like the next Bobby Lashley or Brock Lesnar. They naturally fell in love with MMA, and they just kind of went that route. Three of my cousins. There's Muhammad Line of Allah Sultan. There's Isa Tiger Sultan, and then there's Musa. I think he still goes by Raging Bull, and he's a pretty boy. But they're all like MMA guys. Shout out to them. Like those guys, like they're animals. They're just built different. And we would clown each other. And so nobody could ever like pressure me into anything. My own family would rip me apart, because I would stick with wrestling. I was the only one that just never budged. And I guess that mixed with like, I was very passionate about it because I had a lot of respect for the art of it. I felt like I understood it on a very deep level. I had an economics teacher in high school as a graduation gift. He gave me Bret Hart's book, My Real Life in the Cartoon World of Wrestling. And that summer, my father got very sick, so he's in the hospital. And I was the only one ever. My rest of my family was in Florida with my uncle, and I was reading the book, and I just always associated with these types of guys. Like I was like, like I just understood it. That the Chris Jericho's books, two of them I read, and I was just like, whoa, and also like I had like non-wrestling inspirations. Like I got a lot of stuff from comics. I got a lot of stuff from like Rock, Austin, Eminem, like 50, like people that I really like struggled. And that would like at my worst, like my father was sick. I couldn't work. I was juggling two jobs, trying to make sure the rent was covered, and I was like 17, 18, trying to do this 18, going into 19, probably that summer. I was juggling college. It was hard. It was really hard because that's when I was like, at that time I had just started like, I'm going to start college. I'm going to go to work at McDonald's. I'm going to pay for wrestling. And it was a really tough time because like I was also like I got a gig as a janitor at a gym, and I remember like I would tell myself like none of the greats had it easy. So I've always had this idea, this trajectory, like I'm gonna get into wrestling, and then these things are gonna happen. I've always kind of been able to kind of see it, and it's not like in my mind it's coming. It's like I'm on a conveyor belt. It's gonna come. My time is gonna come. It's always been there, and I've always seen it. Like I'm headed in this direction no matter what. And no matter what else I do, and other twists and turns in my life have come, I've always just kind of stayed on path. I've known that it was coming. So, with that being said, I kind of didn't really ever notice, like, oh, I became the wrestling guy. Like, I was working at Starbucks at one point, years down the line. High school was done. I was in and out of wrestling schools, and somebody was like, "Oh, Abe," and he saw me. I was like a barista somewhere in Brooklyn, and the guy was like, "Yo, bro, I got to give you respect, man. You stayed true to yourself." I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, "Yeah, bro, you used to wear the wrestling shirts." I'm like, in my head, I had like 2 shirts. I couldn't afford that stuff. It was like gifts. Like, answer your question properly is other people kind of saw me as that because I guess they saw me wrestling on campus and they knew I was the wrestling guy. I hung around people that had like replica titles and whatnot. And they just talked to me about it. And anytime big things like The Rock came back, everybody and their mother talked to me about it. It's from the anime kids to the artsy fartsy kids to the drama kids to the basketball kids to the handball, like whatever group. I had bumped into enough people wrestling on campus that everybody kind of knew me. The troublemakers and like the straight A kids. So yeah.
Your passion always has a way to find you.
Yes.
Right. So it's good that you never lost it from the start and always stood true to being that wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Informed fan.
Right. Yeah.
I used to call myself. I'm very,
Right. I want to go back to the backyard wrestling. Right. How does a 15-year-old find 40 other people to participate in backyard wrestling?
Mhm.
And why did they trust you so much with the booking and the writing?
Okay. I'm gonna try to condense like years into like a couple sentences. I'm sorry in advance. There was a different guy that ran it, and he was a really, really good friend of mine, but he was a bit of a hothead. And we just all loved wrestling so much, and we just wanted to do it, but nobody would take on the liability. So we would meet up on campus, and then campus wasn't enough, so we'd meet up on at different parks and stuff. Because don't try this at home became, well, we're doing it in a park. So technically, we're a child logic. So we would meet up, and he just always wanted to win, and I always saw it like YouTube again just started being a thing, and I had this one like night in Staten Island. My cousin had moved out there, and he did. I always blame him. My cousin, he was like, we could do this, bro. We could put on a really crazy show. And he got some kid in high school that was really good at art to make a poster, and he like it was cool. It had like flames on it. It's very 2000s, and to try to round it like make it all roundabout. It's like I was like, no, we have to have a story and a why, and we have to make people care about this. So we just kept doing it, and then I started filming it, and then I started thinking about, I would watch the footage back. I'm like, we need to work this camera this way, and we need to do that. And people were not very good at talking and very uninteresting, so I would like write stuff for them because I knew them on a personal level. So I'm like, this is something that encapsulates you, and do that. And to be honest, that's carried over. Sometimes I do ghost write some promos for people that are on TV, or I punch up some things. I think that's the better way of saying it. Like I punch up some certain people's on-screen promos, whether they're on TV or high-level independents. I've stayed very curious in my life. I've said yes to a lot of things, and I've kind of fell into certain opportunities. And but at some point, it's who gets you through the door, but you still have to know something. You still have to
Yeah.
be good at it.
Yeah.
You have to rise to the occasion.
It's always say yes to any opportunity and then learn it as you go.
Yeah, sometimes you can almost be kind of overqualified, but nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm gonna get this guy to do
Yeah.
it. Like, confidence can be misconstrued or misinterpreted as arrogance, and no matter what your intentions are, they can all be misinterpreted. And that's just people in general, right? It's showbiz at the end of the day, and people don't want to admit it or they don't want to admit it. It is, and you're at the mercy of somebody else's opinion that's higher up than you.
True.
So the truth is, this is how it's got to be. Sometimes people see you and they're like, "Nah, this kid's an arrogant prick. What does he know?" It's much better when they ask you for something, and you have a good answer because you know a thing or two.
Right.
But yeah, that's just again, that's how I operate. I don't feel like walking into a room going, you know what, this is what we're doing today. Even if you have like sometimes you just got to get an idea, lay of the land, like okay, what's going on? Who am I dealing with?
True.
And some people like to collaborate. Some people they're in a bind and they need a quick answer. And some people their ideas are the best thing ever and they don't want to hear anything. So
Right.
just gotta figure it out.
Right.
Sorry, that was a
No,
big sandwich.
don't apologize. I love it. From wrestling in backyards, right, and having your own like backyard independent scene in Coney Island, how did you find an actual professional wrestling school?
Okay, I saw I went to an independent wrestling school, a couple of them. I wanted to check it out. And some of my buddies, they had the money. They jumped on. They went to Johnny Rod's Unpredictable Wrestling, or I forgot what UWW I think it was, or UWU. I don't recall. But they went. He paid like $3,000. His dad had a sweet gig, so he got in. Another one of my buddies, he found his way to the Ludus, run by Joel Maximo in like Sunset, I believe. It was like Park Slope, Sunset. The location changed. So I quickly, I was young. I didn't have any money to train, so I would just stick around. I got a lot of secondhand information from guys that either knew what they were talking about or thought they knew what they were talking about or actually knew. And I would watch like Mike Santana, who was Mike Drastic at the time. And in the beginning, when he was still in the tag team, they used to be called EYFBO at the time. And I saw them rise. I saw a lot of guys that I ended up meeting as an adult much later, but those are just a few that came to mind. And one of my buddies, Drew Dreadnought, his father would do like the posters and the turnbuckles and the ring aprons for Joel Maximo, so he got to train for free. He's like, "You don't have to pay me, just teach my kid." And then I would meet up with him after, and I would learn everything that he learned.
Hmm.
And I also, at the same time, my cousin, who like I had mentioned, his father had raised him to be a pro wrestler. He would hang out with this guy named Jason Static, who was like a Florida independent wrestler, and he met him at Dolphins Gym. And he would give me like in-ring psychology tips, like triple threat matches are structured such a way, and this such and such. I'm like, okay, all right. So I would get like a secondhand education on wrestling, and and like it was a lot of old timer stuff. It was like a lot of new stuff. I didn't fully understand where stuff went. Like when I would watch like Ring of Honor, I didn't understand like, okay, this is like very advanced, or they're just like too good. I had to comprehend it. I had to break down the algorithm of what this is that I'm watching, and where they are. And this might be a little bit more inside baseball, which I'm not too comfortable talking about because just I'm an old school guy in my heart. But to simplify it, I just wanted to understand how to do what I saw and emulate it as me. And that was a whole different struggle all by itself. So yeah, I stuck around. I did commentary. I got beat up by a bunch of guys. I went to a bunch. I ended up in the Bronx at one point. I ended up in Queens at one point, training at different places. But again, when you don't have financial stability, it's very hard to dream chase. It's very hard. So I took a break from that. I had to get myself figured out. I got a couple licenses. I got financially stable, and I got really, 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 really small. Like physically, like I got into probably the best shape of my life. I was like down to like 173 pounds. I was walking around at like 220 at one point. But also, you're surviving. You're on survival mode. Regardless, I got myself really, really small. I ran a lot. I ran like 6 miles and stuff, like 5 times a day, 5 times a week, 5 times a day. Jeez. At that point, the idea of wrestling was like in the back of my head. I was like, like I never really gave it like a real shot where I just trained. So I called around a bunch of spots. I didn't want to go to certain places because I felt like you'd just be running in place forever. So I looked up this spot that somebody had in the gym had saw me, and they were like, "Hey, you ever thought about being a wrestler?" And I was like, "Yeah," you know. And the guy was wearing like a Warriors of Wrestling hoodie. And he's like, "Oh, you should come down to Staten Island." I had no means to get to Staten Island. I did not drive. I took a 2-hour bus ride. I went all the way there. When I went there, I I just kind of watched everybody do stuff. I tried to understand what I was looking at. I liked the structure and the discipline, and they were really tough on you over there at the times, especially. So I liked it. The next day, I went and I scheduled my driving test. I got my driving test. I got it scheduled. I passed. I got my license. I got $100 car, and I drove to Staten Island, never driving before. Yeah, my dad was freaking out at the time. My dad's like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I just kind of just went. And I was like, my heart was probably beating, but I was so focused on just getting there and back. And yeah, for like 2 years, I just trained in Staten Island, and I put like a lot of time into.
Wow.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah,
Who were some of your favorite wrestlers to emulate?
dude, that's like a big question. I'm a conglomerate of like a crazy amount of like this from this person, this from this person. I couldn't even tell, like there's no specific order even. Like I like Eddie, I like Edge, I like Cena, I like Punk, I like Dory Funk, I like Mr. Kennedy or Mr. Anderson, who I got to in 2022. I got to tell him to his face like he was a huge influence on me. And he actually asked us to take a picture, which was really cool. I met him like Undertaker was giving a speech. We were in Texas for WrestleMania, and I was there as EC3's guest, and I met Mr. Anderson, super cool guy. Jeff Hardy too. Jeff Hardy, by the way, is like not taller than me, so like that was shocking, because I always thought he was. But yeah, dude, like there's so many CM Punk, Danielson, who I thought was like the greatest wrestler. I still probably think he is like the best like in ring performer since like probably Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle. Not that it's again, I don't have a real list. It's just like Bret Hart, love this, love this, love that. I love this from this person, this from this. That's what I am. I'm like a big melting pot of like the bet. Like even if it's not like not my favorite wrestler, right? Like I just like this is something I appreciate from this person. Oh, Jericho does this really well. I love that. Oh, Ricky the Dragon, bro, he's just so good at this. Sting, oh my God, bro, Sting, Surfer Sting, and then Crow Sting, like these aspects of this person. So it's hard to say. I love this of Steve Austin because there's levels. There's like performance. There's entrance. There's like little things you do in the ring, the way you handle something, the way you kind of call an audible, the way you kind of adjust, a small movement, a big facial expression, like all these little things, like they're like so ingrained in my brain. I'm a very visual person because like outside of wrestling, like my second or third favorite thing is like cameras and video editing and just like photography. Like I just like things capture like visuals stay in my mind. You know, I've had dreams of like things like, oh, this could happen in a match. It would look really cool. And then I did it. And I got such I like to call it a free education in wrestling when I was younger that I kind of already had so much like a back catalog of like ideas and what works, what doesn't work, all these risks that I met people and they were like still figuring things out. I had all made those mistakes already. So I had so much to kind of like, this is who I want to be. This is where I'm going. This is who I can be. You know, like I did a match where the footage is lost and I lost a match and the guy shaved my head in front of like maybe 20 people.
Shaving your head and footage is gone and it's in front of 20 people.
Yeah. And but that like that's how much I love this. Like I was
Yeah.
like, you know, if the story's right and the situation's right, maybe we see it again someday. You
I
know?
see how much you love it.
Yeah.
And there's something that we talked about that kind of correlates with loving it, but pushing yourself too far.
Mhm.
You told me that you suffered a serious injury,
Yeah.
but continued to wrestle through it. Can you tell me how you suffered this injury and what became of it?
Yeah. So it's 2022, right? Uh you mind if I roll back to 2021 for a moment?
Please.
So 2021, my father had passed in 2020.
Sorry about
And
that.
thank you. And I guess instead of like fully dealing with it, as long as I was able to pay for everything, and thank God, like I was able to take care of everything by myself. And like I just hit wrestling hard and I just said yes to everything. And I traveled like 8, 9 hours to wrestle in Maine. And I did it pretty often. Did ladder matches with people that half of them probably shouldn't have been in the match, but it is what it is. You know, I said yes to everything. And I realized only after I got hurt that I was like, I think I was running away from like the pain of losing my father because there were certain things I wanted to accomplish in his lifetime. But selfishly, I think I wanted to see him see me. So I had to deal with that. But when you're like running and you're running hard, dude, like I had ended up in a tryout where EC3 saw me and he really liked me and he put me in this wrestling that he was trying to build up, his wrestling promotion called CYN, Control Your Narrative. He pulled me into it. When he pulled me into it, he gave a lot of guys opportunities, and I felt so bad for the guy because he was really trying to create like an alternative. I know AEW was on the come up at the time, but he was trying to create another alternative, you know, where everything was really serious and a little bit less flipping, things were a little bit more gritty. And it was just something new. He took a real risk. He put his money into it, and he caught so much flack online from because everything doesn't have to be political. And trust me when I say this to you, as somebody that's been on the receiving end of a lot of mean things, because of like shitty politics, like the guy was really just trying to give a chance to some people, man. It wasn't like a racial thing. He gave a lot of opportunities to people of color or different orientations. Like I'm not going to break down an individual down to their sexual preference or their ethnicity, but trust me, we had everybody of every color of whatever you're into. All right. And they're all on the roster and they're all getting opportunities. So I was in the middle of that. WrestleMania weekend, I got to wrestle Austin Aries, who was like a top 5 Ring of Honor guy for me. And I told him that to his face. You know, I was a last minute. The guy he was supposed to face got pulled out by AEW. I got an opportunity to work him in front of a huge crowd in Orlando, which was fantastic. I'm riding high. I got booked in Las Vegas. I'm doing West Virginia. I was trying to do all the East Coast. I got asked to wrestle for Pro Wrestling Magic. It's a promotion in New Jersey. It's on IWTV, and they wanted me to work as a baby face or a good guy. So I was like, you know what? I'll play by the rules. You got this. I was a little nervous. I wanted to work on some flashy stuff that I hadn't done in a while. So I was like, I'm going to do this. So I went in and I went into training. I wrestled a bunch of people, did some drills. And then I ended up wrestling somebody that didn't have as much experience as I was led to believe that they had. And they hit me with something and they hurt me really bad. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I called for what's something that's called like a kitchen sink. You get knee in the gut, you probably end up flipping or falling. I got hit in the hip, and I just like my body went like that, and I like immediately was in pain, but my adrenaline was up. By the time I got in my car and I tried to get out, and I got home, it was about an hour and a half drive back home because at that point I had already left Warriors of Wrestling. Um, and I started training at the Fallout Shelter, and we had a lot of drop-ins and stuff like that. People from all over, because Fallout Shelter was still relatively new. Shout out to the Fallout Shelter. Shout out Battle Club. Shout out Joe Kim and Mr. Martinez, you dumb son of a bitch. Um, but yeah, man, that I got banged up really bad, and I couldn't stand up. And the next day, I still had this match that I at Pro Wrestling Magic, and I worked really hard to get on that show. So I do my pre-show routine. I lifted. I squatted. I have this whole thing that I do for show day. Showed my show day routine, and it got worse. And then I wrestled this other gentleman, and he was like covered in baby oil, and he kind of slipped. It was like a weird timing thing, and I went to make sure he doesn't break his neck, and I want to dump him on his back. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I'm gonna dump this guy on his head. I'm gonna win. I'm going home early, and yeah, whatever. Like a sharp pain went up my back, and I was like frozen. And I finished the match. I was in a lot of pain. It kept bothering me. Healthcare sucks. It sucks, dude. If you're a New Yorker, you understand what I mean. If you're over 26, you know what I mean. It sucks, dude. You have to go here. You have to go to the emergency room, and then you have to get this approval for that. All the bureaucracy, I was over it, and I tried. I just want to get an MRI done, and they were overcharging me like $1,400 for one MRI, and I tried and I tried, and I couldn't get a real answer. All I did was stretch. I tried to find different remedies to alleviate the pain. I remember EC3 gave me some good advice. He was like, "You're not a civilian. Don't look for civilian resources." So I went out of my way to try to find something. I gave it about a few months. I couldn't stand, by the way. Like I couldn't sit, but I couldn't stand either. I was like hunched to the side. I had my shoot job, and in my office, thank God I'm tall enough. I moved my chair and I just kind of sat propped up on my desk like this, and I look like I'm sitting in a chair. And I took clients, sat with a lot of rich people, and nobody was the wiser. And I couldn't drive. I was like really, and thank God I have a very kind, very loving lady in my life, and she really was there for me. Uh, and we just tried to find remedy after remedy, and then, and I think if anybody that sees this, that is in the wrestling game, can understand this. There's an itch there. I went to a couple of shows, and like I had a pit in my stomach because I'm watching everybody and I'm not doing anything, not anything of merit or value. I had long hair at the time. I shaved it. I was just like, what the hell am I doing? You know, I had to go to Vegas anyway because I had an opportunity to wrestle in Vegas. It didn't work out, so I just kind of went, and I was like injured, like I was on my side. I went in some pools, and that was when I was in a pool. It was the only time I could stand up straight. It was very hard, man. It was very hard. And then I kept wrestling when I came back. It's like the itch was there. I was like, I got to do it. I got a really cool opportunity. That's where I met Rembrandt. Rembrandt was another guy that kind of got burned where he was, just like I had gotten burned a little bit where I was, where we started out. And I remember I was told, like, you guys are like this odd couple, and it shouldn't work, but it does. And it did. We were the tag champs for a while. We beat the main event, Midas and Lion, or from House of Glory. We beat them, and we ran, dude. We ran. We were both like kind of like damaged goods. And while it was good, it was great. And then my injury got worse. And I remember one of these doctors told me, I went to the emergency room. They were like, they gave me I don't know what it's called, but it kind of numbs whatever pain you're in. It put in your arm. I forgot what it's called, but
Insulin? But no, but that's for allergies.
No, it's type 2 diabetes, bro.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that was definitely not insulin.
Yeah, no.
But they it starts with a T or an E, whatever. It'll come back to me when it doesn't matter. But regardless, I was able to stand up straight, and they're like, "Oh, see, you're better." About 45 minutes later, I was crooked again, or I was like crooked like this. I don't really recall, but it was bad, dude. And then I had to, let the people in Battle Club know, like, hey, like I don't know when I'm gonna come back. And during that time period, I came to terms with a lot of things that were wrong, you could say, in my life. Like things that, not wrong, things that were pending. They were on the back burner. And there's a lot of real life stuff. And I really believe things happen for a reason, because I came to terms with a lot of things that were just kind of sitting there, pending. Things that required my attention, things that needed to get fixed, things that only I could help make better for other people in my life. So I did it, because sometimes money is just not enough. Sometimes your time and attention is required. And something I learned while I was away is like, you can buy people presents, you can buy them a car, PlayStation, whatever, vacation. The real thing that really stays with people is the time you give them and how you make them feel. And that's the truth. That's the whole truth. And yeah, I now I look back on it. I used to be angry. I used to be upset. And I had also kind of made sure I'm like, I'm not going to wrestle again. Whatever. I'm not going to break all of it down, but it sucked. Okay. It sucks. You're in pain. You wake up in pain sometimes. You're like, oh, what the hell? Find a comfortable position. It doesn't work. You have to get a new mattress, whatever. I don't mean to make it sound like it didn't matter. It's just, I don't feel there's a point in complaining about it. It's just what it is. I already went through the fire. I've never really gone in detail about the severity of it outside of the people that are very close to me. Because I just didn't see it. Like, what's going to happen for me? Like going, hey, like it was really tough.
You didn't want the pity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, nobody cares. That's the truth. Nobody really cares. Like, yeah, they can give you their empathy for like while you're in front of them, but here and then it's gone and then that's it. You still got to figure a way out. There's no point in wasting your breath, So that was something that was like a huge setback. And I had come to terms with the fact that I'm never going to wrestle again. And I was okay with it. I was like, I gave it a shot. I got to do some cool stuff. I got to wrestle Austin Aries and like whatever. And I hang my hat on that and whatnot. I got to be tag team champions with Rembrandt. I got a phone call in 2024, or is it 2025? I want to say it's 25 or 24. Hey man, we got this idea. What do you think about being the general manager? I'm like, sure. Did some commentary for Battle Club X with Joakim Morales, the owner. That was kind of fun. And then we got this opportunity presented itself. Let's call it a creative puzzle. And the solution was somebody's gotta reset this whole thing. There was too many people that had weaseled their way in, or this is the part that's gonna get me in trouble, but I don't really care because I don't. There were too many external factors, and they were kind of like pushing for their moment in the limelight. And there wasn't enough like, hey, what can we do to elevate this thing? It was more like, what can you do for me? At least that's how it was explained to me. And I didn't really have a lay of the land anymore. I hadn't been around, so I didn't really know the politics surrounding anything. I really didn't, contrary to popular belief. So I kind of walked in and I was like, reset, bang. And my idea was we're going to create a different standard. We're going to push tickets. We're going to get more people to care about this and us. And we're going to elevate everybody by trying to create must-see stuff on an independent level. And if you go back to January, where I returned and I took this championship away from Jorge Santi, Jorge Santi is a fantastic professional wrestler. He's actually, he's probably one of the best people I've ever seen operate in a ring. And it's a shame, honestly, that he hasn't gotten the opportunity to have like a full-on match. If you just see like the tidbits of what he's done with extra stuff or what he's gotten to do against some of the best on the independent scene, it really is a shame that he hasn't gotten an opportunity to be on TV the way he should be showcased, even for NWA or whatever, right? TNA, you name it. He's helped put together some fantastic matches. He's still an arrogant asswipe, but he's a fantastic professional wrestler. Is he annoying? Yes. Does he feel like I shouldn't have been champion? Probably. Still was, though. Tickets were up when I was champion. So with that being said, yeah, it sucks. But as soon as I took the title off of him, we were off and running. And we pumped new blood into this thing. And I helped federate it, and we called ourselves the gatekeepers. Because we were going to fix this thing, man. We're going to fix this thing. We're going to steer this ship properly, and we did. Attendance was up. People cared. There was a celebration, and you can go back and you can actually see it, and I'll get you the footage if you haven't seen it. I believe it was called Let's Go. It was in February of 2025. Right? That was last year. We're in 26, right? Yeah. Yeah. Believe it or not, I actually don't drink, smoke, or do drugs. I just have a lot.
going on.
Yeah, I have a lot going
Yeah.
on. My 24 hours is usually pretty packed on most days.
Me and Wolf were just talking before you got here, and Wolf was like, "When's the last time I saw you?" And I was like, "A month ago." And he was like, "No, dude, it had to be like 4 or 5 months ago." I was like, "No, dude, it was a month ago." So time is moving fast, but slow at the same time.
Dude, and I'm sorry for rambling, dude. I just
No, not at all.
there's just like there's a lot that I got to get
Yeah.
off my chest. And,
Please do.
And I haven't ever, I haven't ever had the opportunity. Like I was dead broke, and I just wanted to do this. I didn't have no way to get in. You had to send videotapes in at that time. I had no idea how to do this. So I'm very, very, very appreciative of anything they've ever given me to do, whether it was ring the bell, do commentary. I've held cameras. I've helped edit stuff. I was 16 years old and I had a promoter, and I'd rather not say his name, but he used to be a wrestler, and he's like, "Who do you think should win?"
Do you feel like that's something missing with a lot of young talent, where they're like looking for the limelight and not like, well, listen, I was setting up the rings, I was doing the bell, whatever I can find my way in, I made sure I can do.
Yes. When I was the Battle Club Pro franchise champion, I still put the ring away because that's what you should do. You're not above it. Like I had some other responsibilities when the show was over, but I still made sure to put the ring away because I believe before you preach to everybody, just set the example. 100%.
Jinx.
100%. Damn it. I need a cup of that amateur stuff.
I wanted to ask, right? And I have the names here because I don't want to butcher anyone. You were originally scheduled for a triple threat match at May the Queen Reign 2. It was you, Joseph Alexander, and Giorgio Lawrence.
Yes.
However, it changed into a fatal four-way when Randy Wentworth got involved.
JG Wentworth, yes.
Yeah. Oh, his name is...
I don't know. 877 Cash Now may or may not be his real occupation, but we'll figure it out.
Got you.
Yeah.
What happened after the match is what I'm both concerned about and curious about. What is going on with you and Federated? As someone who's just getting involved with Battle Club Pro now, I don't know any of the history. What happened there? I was concerned. You had a chair around your neck. You were going to be taken out. What is the history there? Can you tell me?
Federated was something that I like to believe myself and Rembrandt helped elevate in different ways, both together and as individuals. I was put in Federated earlier than him. I was under McDrake's guidance. He was the former franchise champion. Rembrandt joined shortly after, maybe like later that year. Somewhere down the line, we had won the tag team titles together. I got hurt. He went on to defend that tag team title with Cuzzo, or Young Leon, what we like to call him. He called himself Young Lion. I told him Young Leon, that's where the money's at. But it is what it is. And we had a crazy calendar year last year. And if you go back, and I highly recommend you watch these fantastic, calling them a highlight reel doesn't do it justice. These video packages, these moments in time, that Elix, that's one of our producers, like, or at least I like to consider her a producer, a visual producer at least. She curates. You can see the celebration, the cake flying into the fans and into my face. It's been crazy shows. People getting thrown through tables and grabbing fans to be part of a match and grabbing security guards, and there was all these obstacles that had arisen. It doesn't really matter who did it and whatnot, but Santi really tried to overcome a lot of these things, and he came up short sometimes, and other times let's just say this. The show was must watch, and you can find it all on YouTube. But a lot of it, through all of it, Rembrandt was by my side. Becuzzo was by my side. I like to call him the Big Pistola, but that might mean large water gun. I don't know. I'm not bilingual. I don't speak Portuguese. But Young Leon was by our side, and then later on, Jem, who got in there with us. Honestly, her and I had a lot of friction. I used to call her a bodega brat stall, and she embraced it, which is, respect to her. She's a very creative young woman. And there was a time where the former champion, his name is Yaya, he had the title for like 300, 400 plus days. I should know the date. I don't, because I was already champion and my title reign is more important. But what happened was he tried to take a cheap shot at me, and she jumped in the way, and I got to give her respect for that. So she got in. Somewhere along the line, I think Rembrandt got it in his head that he didn't need Abraham Khan around. Or maybe, and this is what I believe, I like to give people grace, benefit of the doubt. I think Mr. Martinez told him that. I feel like Mr. Martinez was getting old. I feel like Mr. Martinez had slowed down and they were going in a different direction. And I think he poisoned the young mind of Rembrandt. And Rembrandt got involved in my match because I got involved in Young Lions. What did Young Lion have to do with me? Yeah, okay, I said some mean things. Everybody says mean things to you guys. You're the young boy. So what? I want you to be better. What, I'm supposed to tell you, hey, man, keep losing, bro. That's what you got to do. Keep losing. No. I said some things to you, and what did he do? He hit me in my giant testicles. What's up with that? What's up with that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that to somebody? I never did that to you. And I never even Bangkoked the guy, you know? So what happens? I'm sitting in the back. I'm watching him disrespect somebody's father who had passed. And we called him Pops. And there's this young guy. His name is Mike. He works really hard. He's still finding his way in the game. Trains a lot over at the Fallout Shelter. His father was an avid fan. He was very polite and kind to me. We had a couple of gags, a couple of moments together. And why would you interrupt that? So yeah, I got involved. He lost the match. It's nothing new, dude. It's like Tuesday for you. You just lost. Okay, you lose, you wake up, you go back to sleep, you lose again. And Rembrandt decided to get vengeance for this guy, for this underling. Okay, buddy. Okay. So you're going to get involved in my stuff. I let the first time, okay, what could have been an email in January, we broke up. Could just say, hey, Barry, I don't want to work with you anymore. Cool. No, he decided to attack me. They all decided to attack me. I was like, you know what? I did a lot of terrible things to other people. This is karma. I understand. I'm a realist. I understand how the world works. You do bad, bad will come to you. Understood. No problem. But I can't just sit there in the back. I'm still a man at the end of the day, dude. Like this guy, like, you know, sometimes terrible things happen, but sometimes every now and then you see some dude like, can I curse on this?
Yeah.
You see some bitch ass dude and you're like, what's going on over here? Like, okay, I understand. Like this guy and this guy, whatever. There's some qualms, there's hurt feelings, whatever. There's like unjust or undue credit upon you that I may not have given you. But then this guy, who's this underling? Who's this intern think he is? You know? So, okay. I cost him a match. If Rembrandt wants to get involved, he wants to attack me, okay. But I'm going to hit you back. And that's exactly what happened. He was a couple days shy of being the longest reigning tag team champion in Battle Club history. Guess you're not anymore. You know, he tried to take my life. I don't know if you saw that. He attacked me viciously with a chair, and then
I was there.
Yeah,
I was there. I was really concerned.
Yeah. He actually split the back of my head open, which is always fun. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I thought that was bad, but then he kept cracking me. I got bruises all over my arm, my legs, couldn't sit, very hard time sleeping. But then Cuzzo getting involved was very interesting. I watched Big Cuzzo, the big guns, Big Pistola. I don't speak Portuguese. Please pardon my French. But he decided to, I guess he intervened and like, hey, you know what? This is not something that I signed up for. And it isn't. I never did that to Mr. Jorge Santiago. I wanted him to fall in line a year ago. And you can find all of this. I told him, you got to relax. You need to fall in line. The future is now, and I'm the future. And I'm paving the way for this place to have another calendar year. That was our big beef. He had a different view of it, and like we're seeing it now. He's having these fantastic matches. I thought I was doing what I felt was right. I don't understand how Rembrandt decided, and I think this is because of Mr. Martinez mostly, that somehow this is about him when it was about us. Is that long-winded enough for you?
It's good. I'm excited to see what happens next, honestly.
Yeah,
an eye for an eye, huh?
Yeah, well, the paramedics were definitely concerned. The doctors and the EMTs backstage actually were arguing over what to do with me. Because I thought about it, because like maybe you would have saw me get involved in that main event. I don't know. You know, I have nothing. I'm pretty indifferent toward the former Icons champion. Shout out to you kicked out at 4. Respect. But yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like maybe, but I was definitely not only not medically cleared, I couldn't stand, and I was in a lot of trouble, and it only got worse once I got home. But thank God, I think I'm gonna make a recovery. I'm gonna pull through.
Pull through. On something a little bit more lighthearted, I have a blind ranking game for you,
Oh.
right? I want you to rank from virtuous to least virtuous these next 5 names. Okay?
Okay. Are these people that we know, or are these
People
like...
you know for sure. Okay?
All right.
Jorge Inner City Santi
Is he virtuous or not virtuous?
from 1 to 5. 1 being the most virtuous, 5 being the least.
He's a 4.
4. Okay. Let's get that in there.
It's a dirty dog. He knows what he's done.
The next name is Vinny Pacifico.
Vinny Pacifico. Dude's a hustler. I'll give him a 2, just because he's not number 1. I'm number 1. Vinny Pacifico. He's a fantastic guy. Really helped me out a lot when I was starting out. Very good human being. Very ambitious guy. He's addicted to success, and I love the guy. I got nothing but love for him.
Prince Ahmed.
Oh man, he's definitely virtuous. I'm gonna give him 1.5, and I give him 1.5 because he's a good human being. He's awful in the ring, and I don't mean as a performer. Not what he does. I just think what he does, his style of professional wrestling, while exciting, it sucks because he bends you up like a pretzel, and like everything hurts. Like, it's one thing when your back hurts. It's different when your joints hurt. You know, when you walk out of a fight with Prince Ahmed, everything hurts. Like, this hurts, and this goes for everybody. Like, you know, your back hurts, your neck hurts, whatever. But like, your fingers hurt. You know what I mean? Like, your ankle hurts. It's like, God, what the hell? You know? So he like chomps away at you a little bit. You know, it takes a part of you with him. So yeah, like 1.5 as a human being, but like, you know what?
You have 1, 3, and 5 left.
Okay.
Those spots.
So we'll give 2 to Ahmed and we'll make 3 Vinny.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. Federated in its entirety.
5, not virtuous at all. Because the most virtuous part of Federated is gone.
Lastly, Abraham Khan. You only have 1 spot, and that's number 1.
I feel like it was destined to be this way because the truth is the truth and you can't hide it no matter what. Number 1, the most virtuous is Abraham Khan.
Abraham Khan. I want to take a moment. Let's have a moment of respect and silence in honor of your father.
Thank you.
So we're going to start right now. Okay.
Thank you.
I want you to know, right now you have the biggest representative next to God right now saying, hey, make sure things go well for him. And it's been fantastic. This is the first time me and you sat down to talk.
Yeah.
Fantastic. There's a lot more I want to talk to you about. So hopefully you can grace me with your presence again and visit. But I want to thank you so much.
Thank you from my father. I really appreciated that. Number 1. And number 2, next time if you're in Jersey, because I got a couple of shows in Jersey for June, or you're just in Brooklyn or Queens, we'll grab some coffee. We'll have a good time. I'm quite a coffee connoisseur, actually. And you may or may not see content because my DMs have been blowing up. Every time I post a cup of coffee, they're like, hey, you got to make content. You got to break it down. I don't know what anybody wants to know, but I may or may not do it. I don't know. We'll see. But it was an absolute pleasure. And thank you for letting me tell my story because
Yes.
I've never gotten the opportunity, nor have I felt comfortable
Right.
to do that.
I appreciate you feeling comfortable with me. Ladies and gentlemen, the virtuous Abraham Khan.